Hello and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. It is such a pleasure today to welcome in guest who we all know, Dani Wynn, who is what's your title, Dani?
Preschool Judaic coordinator / I also have the role of Mrs. Goldwyn. So.
Yes, so both Dani and Miss Goldwyn have sort of joined us here today, and we're so delighted that you're back. I know you've had a little bit of refuah shlema that you need to do to have a complete recovery to be back with us. And I'm excited to have Dani here today because I've been thinking a lot about the spirituality of parenting and opportunities that we have to infuse our children's lives and in turn our own lives with a sense of spirituality and spiritual moments. So I wanted to ask you, Dani, when you think about the spirituality of parenting, what does that mean to you?
Really means that we are being connected and being together as a community. Like when we're together, especially here in the preschool for Shabbat Sings and weekly, I love that all the families come together, grandparents come together, the classrooms come together, and we're welcoming Shabbat together as a community, and that spirituality is just really elevated in our hearts.
Oh, I love Shabbat Sing. It's one of the highlights of my week. There's so much good energy and song and community, like you said. Another thing I've been thinking about related to the spirituality of parenting and our sort of responsibility of parents this week, because we read about it in our Torah portion, Parshat Bo, is about storytelling and the power of sharing stories, Jewish stories, both personal stories and those that are part of our master narrative with children. Moses actually says to the Jewish people that they need to tell this Passover story that we read about in Parshat Bo to the next generation, to the children, so that the children ask, just as we reenact at our Passover Seder in a few months, what does this mean to you? To be able to find that deeper meaning and connection through the stories we tell. So I wonder, for all of you that are listening, what are some of the stories that you want to or need to share to the next generation to be able to pass on the values and traditions that are important to you as part of your spiritual journey and your identity a little bit, and what that means a little bit. Dani, you spent a lot of time walking down the halls of the preschool, sharing moments like Havdalah and Shabbat. And I'm wondering, when you're doing that, when you're walking in, what are you hoping to impart to the next generation?
I'm hoping that the children are excited about being Jewish and having a sense of identity, right? And love who they are. And want them to, what we're teaching here in the preschool, bring it back home to their families and share that passion and that love that they've learned here back in the home.
Great. And do kids ever ask you the question that Moses hopes to ask, which is mazot, like, what is this? What does this mean? Do you ever get that question?
We do. Every now and then I've had a couple of parents say, what are you guys learning about? And, can you explain further? And always happy to do that. So, because, kids' interpretation
is the best.
Is the best, absolutely.
Is the best. So my hope and blessing for us and our work here at HEA and for all of us in this community is that we find an opportunity to share some of those traditions like Shabbat, some of those stories that we have, that we can connect with the spirituality of parenting or walking in this world, and to be able to do so that it welcomes in those questions, those meaning-making questions about, like, what does this mean to me? Or what does this mean to you? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Thanks,
shalom.
Dani.
Thank you for having me.